This video is all about the top 5 accessories that are must-haves on the KTM 390 Adventure based on my 16,000 odd kilometer ownership experience of the bike. So if that's something that's interesting to you, keep watching. So sometime back I've made a video about accessories for the 390 Adventure where I've listed some 30 plus mods that I've done to my bike, and over a course of time that I've owned the bike, I've realized that some of the mods were extremely useful, that I was using it almost on a daily basis, and some of the mods were a bit of me just blowing up my money. So that's why this video is there, and is going to cover top 5 mods that you must have, and this is despite you using the bike for just touring or just adventure riding, that is off-roading, or just commuting. Though I don't understand why you have bought the 390 Adventure just to commute. So that's a different topic altogether. The first mod I want to talk about is Sprocket. And why Sprockets? Basically it changes the gearing of the motorcycle, improves the low-end performance that so many people have been cribbing about, and makes the bike a little bit better in terms of how it delivers power. And despite all the combinations that are available in the market, I've had the best experience with changing my rear from a 45 tooth to a 47 tooth. It has given me the best blend of low-end grunt where it is picking up the bike without stalling, even in off-road situations where there are steep inclines and such, and the top end remains good enough as well. So I have clocked about 155 on the top end, and I weigh a lot. So if you weigh something less than 115 kilos, you'll probably be able to get to that kind of a speed or maybe even more on the 390 Adventure. So go for a sprocket change, and you will realize the value of it once you have it. The second and the third must-have mods or accessories that you should install in a 390 Adventure has to be a GPS mount and a phone holder, or a phone holder with a power supply, so with a charger, right? The company has already given you a slot to mount any GPS mount that you want. There are so many versions available. I personally have the one from Zana, and it's doing a decent enough job. Some companies also offer a GPS mount inbuilt with their windshield, so that's Carbon Racing, I think. So you can consider, there are many options, but I'm not going to go into brands here. Why GPS mount and a phone mount with a charger there is because that's one of the best places to mount your phone on the motorcycle. Trust me, like I have tried mounting a phone on my handlebar, I have tried keeping a phone in my tank bag which has a surface, but literally the amount of time it takes for you to look down or look at your tank bag and then look back up, that could be the difference between a crash and a save. And with your phone being right here, like right in front of your face, when you mount it on the GPS mount, it's just like a flick of the eye, and then you can move back, and makes the phone so much more accessible, and it's a much safer way to install and use your phone on the bike. So that's why you should have the GPS mount. Now, why a phone mount with a charger? Yes, there is a 12-volt socket over there, but if you have used the bike for a decently long amount of time, or during the rains, the inner parts of that 12-volt charger get spoiled, they get rusted very easily. The flip top cap that is there on it, that also kind of pops open on its own because of either off-roading, or when you're riding at a slightly higher speed, with a bump it can flop open. So it's not a reliable thing. I've already screwed over one of my Rescue Tech chargers trying to use it with that 12-volt socket. So not the best option. It's just easier to get a phone mount with a charger, and it helps you stay safe. Your phone is probably an expensive phone as well, so it's good to protect that. Always get one which has its own fuse and relay, so it, in case there is something, it doesn't fry the phone or your bike's electricals. Get one which has a fuse, and one which has a waterproof kind of a covering for your USB-A port, which is there in most cases. I think some chargers now have a USB type C port as well. So that's mod 2 and 3 for you. The fourth must-have mod or accessory for the 390 Adventure has to be the handlebar risers. Now I'm fairly tall, I'm 6'4", so I've tried riding the bike. I've gone on long trips without the handlebar risers, and at the end of the trip, or rather just 2 or 3 hours into the trip, my shoulders and back were killing me, simply because either I was not used to the bike, because it was fairly early on in my ownership of the bike, or the ergonomics of the seat, which is kind of high, and the handlebars, which is not as high compared to what the seating of another bike would have been. That ratio is a little bit off, at least for my height and my use case. And I've had other people who are shorter, much shorter, in fact 5'6", 5'7", 5'10", also complaining of back and shoulder ache, and once they've popped on the handlebar risers, there's just no issues that they've had with the bike. So handlebar risers are another must-have accessory. They let you saddle on the bike with relative comfort, because you don't have to lean so far forward to access the handlebars. While long distance touring, also it keeps your arms fairly upright and straight, which is another point in terms of comfort and how they deliver comfort for the bike. So yeah, handlebar risers, go for it. They're fairly inexpensive. The fifth mod that I think is irreplaceable on a bike like the 390 Adventure is a good crash guard. I personally have the Zana, but after using it and seeing what options are there in the market, I think the one from Fantasia makes a lot more sense in terms of the amount of coverage that it gives. It covers your engine outer casing as well. So crash guards, always a good thing to have on board. Not only does it save the paneling of the bike, the headlight assembly, it also saves the engine casing, and in some cases it will also save your gear changing lever, that's the foot gear changing lever, as well as your brakes, that's the rear brakes. So good to have, since most people are going to tour with the bike and they are going to do some off-roading with this bike. So that's a very good accessory to have, because if one of these items breaks off, you're stuck and you don't want that to happen. So get crash guards. It's a worthwhile investment to protect such an expensive motorcycle. Till now we have talked about the must-have 5 accessories, but let's talk about 2 more which are situational but definitely worth considering. The first one is very similar to a crash guard, and that's hand guards. The stock hand guards are pretty much useless. They're only to deflect wind. I recently had a crash, a very slow crash, while trying to complete an obstacle course, and the plastic hand guard just bent inwards, broke my clutch lever. Thankfully my left hand was not holding the clutch lever when that happened, and popped right back out. with just a little scratch on the outside, so they are completely replaceable. That would be the kindest way to put it. My suggestion would be to put any other handguard which has a metal spine. If you have the money and you want to invest in a good handguard, go for Blockbusters. But there are so many copies available online in the market for 1500, 1200. You could get whatever suits your budget. But do change this, or you might find yourself without a clutch lever or a front brake lever if you have a small tip over or a crash on an off-road course somewhere in the mountain, and then you're stuck there because you can't use the clutch, right? The seventh one, which again is situational, again highly recommended, especially if you're touring, is aux lights. And all I have to do is show you a clip, and that's how much of a difference it makes having a good aux light on the bike. Now again, depending on your budget, you can go for something that costs you 1 lakh rupees, 50,000 rupees, or 3,500, 4,000 rupees, which is the ones that I have. What do you guys think? Do you have any other recommendations for the must-have list or almost must-have list in the sense? Do share it in the comment section, and as always, if you thought this video was informative, it's helping you make some purchase decisions, do give the video a thumbs up, share it with your buddies who have a 390 adventure, and if you feel like subscribing, awesome. Do subscribe for some great, or well, good enough content. That's it from my side for this video. Thanks for watching. Bye.